As a startup CEO, what qualities do you need to look for in a candidate? The most important thing that I feel a candidate needs to have is being trustworthy. I've often shared that example that actually is not an original one. It is an example stated by Simon Sinek that you need to hire, when he went to Navy SEAL folks and he asked them, how do they hire? So they look for, they have a quadrant. So they do not look for a guy, the top performer guy who always has a problem in being able to work with others. They always look for a guy who is high on trustworthiness, even though he is mid-level in performance or in physical strength. Now, in a startup, I may disagree, I may not say that every time we use that, but that is an important criteria, trustworthiness. But at the same time, you should be able to hire people who are lone rangers but high performers, who could be lone rangers but high performers. Startup is not a Navy SEAL and it is not built by a bunch of average or mid-level performers. A startup is always built around few top-level performers. Then you need to fill it up with folks who could be average performers but high on trustworthiness and reliability. So let me talk about some general things that even if the guy may be a lone ranger high performer, high trustworthy guy and mid-level performer, but some common qualities they all need to have, and that's what I'm going to talk about for you to consider. Number one thing is passion and enthusiasm. See, as a startup CEO, you need to look for guys who are passionate and enthusiastic about the work they're doing. I'm hoping these guys already have some prior work experience with what kind of passion and enthusiasm they come across to you while describing what they have done. You want individuals who are excited about the mission of your startup and are willing to put in the effort to achieve the goals. So, passion and enthusiasm is number one quality for you. Then next is adaptabilities. As a startup, if you have done one, or I can tell you from my experience, you have to pivot often and quickly to adjust to the changing market conditions, competitive landscape, funding, all that, many things. So you want candidates, or you want folks who are adaptable, can adjust to new roles and responsibilities as your startup pivots, grows, and evolves. Number three is problem solving and creativity. If you have seen other videos on my channel, I am creative about solving a problem. Startups are born out of that. And in a startup, you're working with limited resources. So you need folks who can think creatively and find solution to the problems that are thrown at them. So look at their approach of problem solving and a creative, innovative mindset that can think outside the box. Number four is strong work ethic. Oh, I have to go and drop my kids. Nothing wrong, poor kids have to be dropped, especially in US. Everything is dependable on cars. Even here you are dependent on cars, but in India you're also dependent on cars these days often. But if there is work that requires long hours to be spent, a guy should be available. A weekend that needs to be spent in completing something, even a proposal as simple as a proposal or solution to a problem reported by a set of clients or a client, you need folks who know they are ready to put in long hours and put work above everything. Though I am very fond of a balanced work-life culture, but the balance is often misunderstood. To me, balance means there are times when family comes ahead of work and there are times where work comes ahead of family. Something needs to be solved. Somebody is in trouble. You have to solve that. You can't say that I'll drop my kids and come back solve it. You have to find someone else to drop your kids and solve this problem. Some people may not agree with me, but that's what I'm going to say. Balance meaning solve both the problems as and when, and adjust as and when those problems come, here or there. And of course, the last one, and I've already mentioned, lone ranger, non-team player, high performer. Startups are built around those guys. But at the same time, rest of the guys, you do need to find some team players as part of your team, because that will really build good, strong team dynamic. Imagine you have 10 lone rangers, high maintenance guys. You will lose your hair. You can see why I have good hair on my head. I've always been able to stick to only one or two Lone Ranger high performers, rest of the guys are team players, helps you maintain sanity. You need people who can work collaboratively, take orders, and at times think creatively, but at times also do as the situation demands. And the last but not the least is strong communication skills. Communication is essential to any business, and especially important in a startup where time is short for you to achieve bigger goals. If you're not able to communicate things internally or externally, you can waste a lot of time in solving trivial problems. So very important for you to hire team members who can communicate effectively with team members, customers, and stakeholders. So hope this helps if you're a startup CEO looking for tips in hiring the right candidates. Again, remember two kinds of candidates: Lone Ranger high performer, mid-level performer, high on trustworthiness. Around these, you can build your startup. Thank you.